Golf Central, brought to you by Titleist.
Hi there, welcome to Golf Central. Brian Burr with PGA Tour winner Aaron Oberholzer, 2008 Masters champion Trevor Immelman. And guys, the start at the Quicken Loans National got off to a bit of a rocky start, 2-hour, 15-minute rain delay. But once the players got out on the golf course, they would take control of Congressional Country Club like that golf course normally doesn't give up.
No, it doesn't. But when you give the best players in the world soft conditions, wider fairways, softer greens that they can attack, today they've made 176 birdies so far, and play's not even done. Compared to the first round, a complete first round in 2014, the last time they played here, only 124 birdies.
When you look at what some of the players in this field, you got a guy like Ernie Els that obviously has a great memory winning the U.S. Open at Congressional, then Jon Rahm making his first start. You have old, you have young, kind of a mixed bag in the field this week.
Yeah, I think it just shows what a tremendous golf course this is, and it stood the test of time. Still a long course, over 7,500. And so with this extra moisture here is going to be playing a little longer. But I think as the week progresses, we'll see the guys who can fly the ball through the air the furthest off the tee come to the fore here come Sunday.
And one of those stories would be the 21-year-old Jon Rahm making his professional debut, former #1 amateur in the world, out early on a Thursday. And Rahm, the Arizona State product, taking control here at the 8th.
Yeah, and this was after a beautiful wedge from 108 yards. He didn't do much wrong today, Ryan. He was in control from the outset, as you can see right there. That was his 7th birdie of the day.
And should we really be that surprised as an amateur? 2 top 10s on the PGA Tour to his resume already. Now as a professional, just showing his array of talent.
Yeah, he's looking to birdie his final hole, the 9th here, to shoot a little 63 at Congressional. Beautifully controlled wedge shot here, leaves himself with about 10 feet.
Yeah, this is a tough putt, though. Big swinger, hard to hit that one hard enough as it kind of, as you can see, falls away downhill. But nonetheless, that's a pretty fantastic start to your professional career.
A bogey-free 64 for Jon Rahm. Made 3 putts over 25 feet, and the putter was red hot throughout. 15 of 17 inside 10 feet, and this is how you get it done in your professional debut. Good off the tee, good on the greens, and the putter was outstanding. Jon Rahm, after his professional debut and that gorgeous 64.
Well, it was a little different because when I played on Monday and Tuesday, it was rolling out a little bit. Right when I finished on Tuesday, when it started raining hard, and I kind of thought it would help me out because I can hit the ball high off the tee and get a long distance off the tee on a carry. And on days like today, it's a little easier for people like me to get a little advantage off the tee. My main focus was trying to keep my expectations down. I didn't want to think that this was going to be easy. Obviously, it's not. It's a PGA Tour event, one of the iconic courses. Tiger Woods Foundation. It's obviously it was hard for me to keep my expectations down because after a good tournament last week, but I did it, and I managed to stay relaxed and get a good round going.
And take a look at just who Jon Rahm is. 21 years old, from Spain, as we talked about. Top 10 finish in all 13 starts this season at Arizona State. And Aaron, you and I had the chance to see him play at the NCAAs this year, and talking to his head coach, Tim Mickelson from Arizona State. I mean, he draws comparisons to his brother Phil Mickelson, the Hall of Famer.
He did it right on the stage with you.
Right on the spot, just because of what this guy has off the tee, his imagination around the greens, and we saw the putting stroke today.
Yeah, he's got the full package, there's no doubt. But you never know really what a guy's going to do when he checks that professional box on the registration form. Some guys put too much pressure on themselves. It doesn't look like. I had the pleasure of talking with this young man last September at the TPI down in San Diego, and I was invited into a conversation with him, with Greg Rose, who was the head of the TPI, and Greg asked me what my thoughts are and when I turned pro and so on and so forth, and John was looking for some advice and so on and so forth, and I said you got to do what you think is right, because I think he was feeling pressure to turn pro, and he ultimately said, he goes, I don't feel ready. I didn't feel ready. So when you're ready, and I'm telling you what, if the results that he's had on the PGA Tour so far, including this round, doesn't tell you that he's ready, I don't know what does, because I believe the man is ready to play, and obviously he is this week.
Yeah, and he's obviously coming in with some form. Tied 23rd at the US Open last week.
Great point.
Which is great playing on a tough golf course. I mean, he went out there today and was pretty much just everything went right for him. He played as well as he knows he can play. Almost drove at 310 yards on average off the tee at almost 80% of the fairways hit. And bogey free. Beautiful stuff.
Trevor, you're still out there on tour. You see a lot of these 20, 21, 22-year-old players make their debuts, come from the web or straight from college, amateurs even playing on a sponsor's exemption. Do you notice a different amount of confidence from these very young players today than maybe 10 years ago?
Not really. I mean, I see them coming out there really believing in their games, and I think what we're seeing now out of these young kids coming out of college is they really believe in their golf game. They believe in their swing, they believe in their technique, and you got to remember they grew up playing this new equipment, new technology with the drivers and the balls and high launch and low spin. That's the kind of thing that Aaron and I never grew up using when we were starting the game. So these guys are coming out, they feel comfortable with the equipment, and they're great players, and they're ready to go.
We obviously have seen with Jordan Spieth, who, oh, by the way, is just 22. He's already won a couple majors, was at one time #1 player in the world. With Rahm, do you have an idea of where he kind of, what box you would check in? I mean, is this guy a can't miss? Is this a guy that you wouldn't be surprised if we see him, move in and be one of the real good young players? Or do you think that he's going to have to find his way?
Well, I think that, I think you don't have to look any further than what's happening to Bryson DeChambeau. Now, different cases, obviously, they're different players, they're different people, but Bryson's still trying to find his way. He hasn't played well over the last couple of months. That could definitely happen to Rahm. These guys, these young guys, they're not used to playing this much golf. Remember, a college season is not that much golf. They're playing, 13, 14 tournaments a year, and then they got their summer schedule, so maybe 20 tournaments. Now we're talking playing every week to every other week. They're going to have to learn how to adjust their schedule, and their bodies are going to be going through a lot more rigorous situations and hitting a lot more balls and understanding a lot more play, and he's going to have to adjust to that. So it'll be interesting to see how, over the next 5 to 7 weeks, or however many he plays, how he adjusts to the amount of golf and the load that he's going to take on. That will tell me a lot going forward on how this young man's going to react.
You've had a conversation with me before about just how emotional he can be on the golf course. Is that something that he might need to change, or can you survive on the PGA Tour being that emotional? Well,
he'll have to learn how to control it and redirect it. There's nothing wrong with having fire in your belly. That's what makes these guys great players. I believe it's going to help make Jon Rahm a great player. But you have to learn how to direct it properly. If you don't learn how to direct it properly, it will eat you alive.
Bogey-free 64. Go ahead, Trev.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best advice that I could give him is obviously give himself some time, be patient with himself here, but he's got to stay authentic and true to himself. I mean, it's the only way you're going to survive a long career out there. You have to be comfortable in your own skin.
Great advice for sure. Only two-time winner of the Ben Hogan Award ever. Jon Rahm off to a great start for sure at Quicken Loans National as we take a look at that leaderboard. Jonathan Vegas, another fantastic round. And as we talked about, Ernie Els, we'll talk about Ernie a little bit later on in the program, but one of his great major championship wins came at Congressional. Ernie turning back the clock on this Thursday with a 5-under 66. One of the marquee groups of the day featured Ricky Fowler out in the afternoon. Fowler coming off of 3 consecutive miscuts. You know he's a fan favorite in the gallery, and Ricky coming out of the box can only shake his head and laugh at the big head. The question would he be laughing with his golf swing? 3 straight miscuts, trying to make something out of nothing here.
Yeah, we're on the third. This is the right miss that we've been accustomed to seeing, and that was a big right miss there on number 3, but comes through in the clutch and hits a really nice shot when he needed to. Wanted to keep the nice momentum going off at number 1.
And now for birdie from 54 feet.
Yeah, long putt across the green here. We'll see how good his touch is early in the round. And he rolls it up there nice and close. Great speed.
Nice lag putt. Even par is Ricky Fowler. Fowler moving to the 5th hole. Another par 4. This is his second, this time from the fairway.
After another good drive. He drove it pretty well today, I will say. Only a couple of big misses. Little sloppy with the wedges at times, but not here. Was really good with that approach.
8 feet, he would make birdie there, and Ricky goes to 1 under. Fowler also playing as we see this birdie putt.
Yeah, left himself in the perfect spot here for a nice uphill putt on that green.
So Ricky Fowler, 3 consecutive miscuts entering the week. He did finish runner-up in this event last year, although it was a different golf course. He's playing with his good buddy, Smiley Kaufman. This is Smiley at the 6th.
Yeah, this is his 4th shot after dunking one in the water. And from 55 yards, that is just a thing of beauty. Fantastic shot.
Not all pars are created equal. That is a good one as he scrambles home. Also in the group, another good friend of both Kaufman and Fowler, Justin Thomas at the 8th.
Yeah, Justin's been making some beautiful swings with his irons today. Here he is from 113 yards out to that front right pin. Beautifully judged out of the rough.
And JT moves it to 2 under par. Let's get back to Smiley as he's now putting for birdie.
And he has not had a great last couple of weeks on tour, missing 4 out of the last 5 cuts. But here, maybe playing with these guys is kind of giving him a little spark.
And you can see that wrist, though, still taped up. So you wonder just how much that has had to do with the sloppy play that you indicated back to Ricky at 9.
Yeah, this is a tougher shot than what it looks, guys. Don't have so much space there to land the ball in. And he just comes up a little short, and all of a sudden, that mistake gets magnified and that ball rips off the front of the green.
And he would now have to scramble just to make par. This is an 8-footer.
And I'm telling you, that shot, to get it to 8 feet from down there, is actually an excellent pitch shot. Absolutely. That is a very, very hard pitch shot from down there.
Back to Thomas. He has so much length off the tee. If he finds the fairway, he certainly gives himself a good look at a lot of birdies. This time it's from 21 feet.
You know, hardest hole in the golf course here. This from just outside of 20 feet, and hello. Those are always fun.
And Justin Thomas has eyed the Ryder Cup, trying to make that team as his goal for the year. This is Smiley now at 11.
Yeah, two guys in the same group birding 11. That won't happen very often this week, guys, so enjoy that. Great putt here, curler from right to left from Smiley.
So as you said, a lot of fun for these 3 guys to get together. Of course, they went on a spring break to the Bahamas in the spring. Also in that group was Jordan Spieth, who's not playing Congressional this week, but you know it was loose. You know there was a lot of back and forth there between Thomas, Kaufman, and Fowler. And I'm sure, Aaron, when you are playing with good friends, that will loosen you up just a bit. We obviously saw that. A lot of smiles with this threesome.
For sure. I mean, they can take it back like, well, you saw them with their shirts off playing golf in the Bahamas, so I'm sure that the guys basically tried to turn it into that, but this time keeping their shirts on, of course, for PGA Tour purposes. But I thought that the one thing that I took from this today, kind of what I've been talking about with Ricky Fowler, I think Ricky Fowler, between Kaufman and Fowler,
3 straight missed cuts.
Yeah, 3 straight missed cuts. He's only done that once before that I can remember, and he came out on that in that 4th week after the 3rd straight missed cut and played really well. But it has to start with his driving, and here I want to show you 3 really good examples of what he did today with his driving. Here on the first hole, so he's been working with Butch, so right out of the gates you want to get off to a good start on this hole, because if you can get this ball in the fairway, it is an absolute birdie hole. We've been talking about Trevor. We've been talking about how he's been working with Claude, working with Butch on getting the rotation down. And the fact that that started up the left side and ended up in the left side is a good sign. Here at number 4, one of the toughest driving holes on this golf course. Kind of a reverse canted fairway, a dog legs left to right, but the fairway cants right to left. You got to keep it up the right side here. In the soft conditions, it makes it a little easier, and he does a great job of that. Again, better rotation with his body, but I think the toughest driving hole is 11. It's straight. You never know whether to go left to right or right to left, and Ricky just goes, you know, I'm just going to go take it straight down the middle and pipe it. And this is what he's been struggling with over the last 3 weeks, and why I believe he's been missing so many, missed the 3 cuts and had the struggles, is that he is not leaving himself in good positions with which to play from, especially on the golf courses that he was playing on in those 3 missed cuts. If he doesn't drive the ball well here, it could be the same thing, because Congressional asks you to drive the ball first and then worry about how you play the golf course from there in. He's off to a very good start here, and it looks like some of the changes that him and Butch and Claude have been working on are coming to fruition.
Trevor, one of the true superstars in this game. He's missed 3 cuts. You know that he wants to get off of that run and get back to his top 10s and winning ways. You look at his statistics, they're all pretty much there. This is kind of an anomaly. What part of his golf swing are they specifically trying to correct?
Well, apparently they're just trying to get him working through the ball and rotating through it a little more aggressively. He's been feeling like he's leaving the driver to the right a little bit over the past few weeks. And so what I noticed today, especially watching those 3 examples there, is it looked like he was aimed a little further down the right, really challenging that right side, challenging himself to work the ball back. And we saw some great drives out of him today. So, you know, hopefully he's found a little something. and he can get some putts rolling in and have a good week.
A couple of the times I did see today that it was nice to see actually from him. He overcorrected, so a couple of the misses were kind of pulls, almost straight pulls. They weren't pull draws or anything crazy like that. But that's a good sign that he is trying to get more rotational with his body and get that miss fixed.
Spent a lot of time with Butch Harmon in Pittsburgh at Oakmont at the U.S. Open, even though he did miss the cut, working on that golf swing. When we come back, news for the Olympics as the Irish contingency is looking for participants. We'll tell you why their top two choices will not be heading to Rio. And how about Ernie Els back at congressional site of one of his great major championship wins? We'll hear from Ernie straight ahead.